All right, you guys. So I want to talk about Candace Owens' latest episode on Monday, the 17th. And there's a lot to unpack. There's a lot of things that I just want to dissect because when I watch her episode, it's crazy. And it's going to get more crazier than ever, meaning that there's more information that's going to be leaked out, more information that she is going to be telling us. And I have to say, the things that she's saying and talking about and presenting in my opinion, evidence, it's hard to ignore. It's hard to ignore the things that she is saying, that she's presenting to us, that we can just ignore the stuff that she's telling us because the feds are not telling us anything. We're not hearing anything from anyone else. So the only thing that we can trust and believe what is Candace Owens is saying. So we're going to get right into it. So welcome back, everyone, to my channel. That's it. All right, you guys, a lot to unpack here. So, like I said, on Candace Owens' latest episode on Monday, and she talked about a lot of different things about the Egyptian plane, Turning Point USA finances, everything. And I have to say, the things that she was saying makes a lot of sense. Now, a lot of people will say it's crazy, it's a conspiracy theory. But my things, the things that she was talking about and saying and presenting, I would believe evidence. I just don't understand how it's so far fetched. You know what I mean? Anything when it goes to investigation, murder investigation, you're going to investigate every possibility, every lead that you are investigating, you're going to follow. You're going to follow the lead, you're going to follow anything and rule it out if it's something or is nothing. And I just don't understand how some people don't think that how it works. Now, I'm not an investigator. I'm not a PI. I'm not in law enforcement, but I can tell you the lot of podcast shows that I've been watching, especially Dateline and other criminal shows. Uh, I could put two and two together, you guys. I have a lot of common sense to see and how things operate behind the scenes. Even though, again, I'm not in law enforcement, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a detective, I'm not PI, but still, a lot of common sense. And what Candace Owens is doing is just investigating, having common sense, going with her gut, and trusting her instincts, just like any other person who would if they're investigating a murder or a death of someone. You know what I mean? We gather the information, we put it together, and then we recess the evidence, and then we talk about it. And that's what Candace Owens is doing. She's presenting the facts and the evidence. That's what's been going on. Now, with that being said, I'm going to let her explain in her own words of the whole situation with the plane, and then afterwards, I'm going to give you my assessment and discuss what she said about the plane and among other things on her show. So take a listen to what Candace Owens had to say.
What it is that we're looking at here and how we were able to find this information about the jet that was just sitting at the FBO.
Yeah, so it looks like, based on this information that I found, and I had to figure out how to use this website because my mother didn't take enough Tylenol when she was pregnant with me, so I can't get too detailed on it. But essentially, all the flight radar websites only show when the plane is actually in the air. But if the plane is on the ground and transmitting, that data from the ADS-B transponder still goes out. So this website, ADS-B Exchange, takes that raw data. And so I was able to find it on September 10th. If you look on the very left of the frame, it shows September 10th. And it looks like there's just one data point. But what I did is I zoomed in, and the plane's actually not moving. It's just GPS is a little bit inaccurate when you're this close. But you're able to see all these different times here, and that is the UTC time zone, also known as Zulu time. So subtract 7 hours from that to get Utah time. And so I tracked all of these down, and I was able to find that the plane was transponding from 9:05 a.m. until 10:34 a.m. Then it was off, and then at 12:40 p.m. it came back on and turned off again at 1:29 p.m.
Okay, I'm going to repeat that so that everybody understands. We were able to discern from this data as follows. On September 10th, and the day of Charlie's assassination, this plane first transponded from 9:05 a.m. plus 36 seconds until it was turned off at 10:34 a.m. and 5 seconds. Then the plane turned back on, the transponder was turned back on just 17 minutes after Charlie was shot at 12:40 p.m. and 53 seconds, and it stayed on until 1:29 p.m. and 40 seconds. So what was the blue plane doing sitting on the tarmac? We can only imagine what it was doing, okay? We can run a couple of options here. It's possible that they were just running a maintenance check. Duncan Aviation does offer maintenance repairs. It's therefore possible that it just chose to run some maintenance checks at an unfortunate time, okay? Another possibility is that a military jet, particularly one from a foreign country, would likely be equipped with encrypted satellite-based communications capabilities. If you wanted to make an untraceable phone call, as an example, that would be a good place to do so, because only the NSA would be able to intercept that call. And it's pretty obvious that the deep state doesn't seem particularly interested in the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So that'd be a safe place to communicate on that plane. Like I said, these are our options. What we can do now, however, is we can add this to our list of verifiable Turning Point USA lies, because I'm going to count this as a lie by severe omission. By keeping your mouth shut and allowing Candace to take all the figurative bullets as she points out the oddity of a plane that you guys recognized. Okay, my point is that these planes were known to Turning Point USA, and we all deserve to know why they were on the ground on that day, what they were doing on the ground on that day, and also why Turning Point chose to stay mum when every influencer under the sun and every publication attacked me for even mentioning the planes, making it seem like I was dumb, I was stupid. Turning Point USA is able to provide answers to these questions. There is more that I know, by the way, but I want to challenge them to respond to this first. Were these Egyptian military planes familiar to Charlie Kirk? It is a simple yes or no question. And answer it carefully, please, and Andrew Colvett, spokesperson for Turning Point USA. Because there is something very specific, Andrew, that you told me that happened when you arrived into Provo on the tarmac that day, and it is now playing over and over and over again in my mind, and it isn't adding up. Another point that I'd like to follow up with, Andrew Colvett, let's stick with you, is that in the hospital on that day, you told me, you were in the hospital, that you were told that there was a credible threat against me and Tucker Carlson. Specifically, you told me that me and Tucker Carlson were on a list, and that you were just telling me as a friend that me and Tucker should lay low. And after you told me that, I ended our phone call, and I immediately called Tucker Carlson. And I said, hey, terrified, obviously crying all day, and telling him that he and I have to lay low because there's a credible threat. And it is now really living inside me that you did not tell me who that threat was from. I assumed the feds told you, but I asked you the question, why wouldn't the feds call me directly if there was a threat against my life? No such call has come in. How is that possible? How could someone have told you that there was a credible threat and that me and Tucker Carlson should lay low, and yet me and Tucker have since not been notified by any federal agency about those credible threats? Who do those threats come from?
Yeah.
So I gotta tell you, there are a lot of people making videos about me and Tucker Carlson, and none of them are Egyptians.
That's it.
In fact, it's the Israelis. It is Israel that seems deeply upset with me and Tucker Carlson. They are not letting it go. They are making threats.
Pause. Is she lying? Is she lying? Does she have a valid point in what she just said? Because it's not the Egyptians, it's the Israelis. That makes more sense, because you have people from left and right coming at Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, okay? People that can't stand them, okay? That are pro-Israel, and they want her to be shut down. Is she wrong by saying that? I don't think so. I think she's onto something. I think she's right. If there was an immediate threat, and there was a real threat towards Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, yes, the feds would be on it. The feds would do their own investigation. But like Candace Owens said, the feds were not knocking at her door or calling her or calling Tucker Carlson. So something doesn't seem right to me. So it seemed like someone from the donors were talking to Andrew Corbett, the spokesman of the Turning Point USA, probably told him, Andrew, listen, you better talk to Candace Owens. You better tell her, she better watch what she's saying and she better lay low. Or something is going to happen to her and Tucker Carlson. That's what I believe what happened. I believe someone from the donors, okay, from Turning Point USA said something to Andrew Corbett and he repeated back to Candace Owens, but he did not specify who it was. Okay? Something's not adding up here.
On every stage, okay, people that are tied to Israel are making threats against me and Tucker Carlson, demanding that we be canceled. So who specifically told you in the hospital room that there was a credible threat against my life? I'm going to need that information, okay?
Me too.
I want to know that now. Because the stakes seem pretty high. I have a lot of questions. This is probably a good time to tell you all that I am starting to piece together another scenario that could have happened. And there was another flight that I am now very interested in. And I believe that somebody somewhere knows something about this flight. So pay attention to this. The tail number is N560TW. N560TW. It departed on the morning of September 10th from Scottsdale, Arizona. And it landed into Provo at 10:06 a.m. It then immediately turned around and departed for Santa Barbara. I'm assuming it maybe picked somebody up. And then it departed Santa Barbara at 11:37 a.m. for Scottsdale, landing at 12:44 p.m. This plane, all 68 instances that this plane crossed with Erica's documented locations, okay? 68 overlaps. I have since been able to add now 73 times that this overlapped, okay? And 29 of those instances also happened to include Charlie. Charlie was also present. And that's what I was stumbling upon when I was looking into this. I was like, why is this plane where Charlie is? The flights were majority clustered within 5 states: Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, and Utah. And it's a pattern that she believes is statistically not random. I'm telling you this information has been completely verified. I am showing you this on a spreadsheet now. These are all the instances in which this plane, all 68 instances that...
Pause. So what Candace Owens is talking about, because there was a little glitch. So one of the mommy sleuths, okay, been also investigating the death of Charlie Kirk and been helping Candace Owens too. And I have to say, kudos for the mommy sleuths that's on it, that's not resting until we get answers of what happened that day on 9/10 of the assassination of Charlie Kirk. So I commend all the mothers out there. You know what I mean? They're on it. They are on it. And I really appreciate it. And I know Candace Owens really appreciates too that they're helping her. So what Candace Owens is talking about is one of the mommy sleuths realized, and Candace Owens said it too in her show, and you can watch the whole entirety, that she missed something, her and her team. And one of the mommy sleuths did a deep dive search for 15 hours. Ah, damn, that's a lot of time. A lot of time. This is why I love the mommy sleuths, because they are on it. That the plane was not only just tracking Charlie, they were also tracking Erica Kirk for a year. Okay, they've been tracking Erica Kirk for a year, and that's when she was saying. That's what Candace Owens was saying the overlap, and I just want to say it again. So that plane that Candace Owens is referring to, not the other plane that she was talking about with the tail number, but the plane that been departing and following her. That makes sense. The blue plane and the yellow plane that they've been tracking Erica for a year. And they've been also including Charlie Kirk as well. Now, with Erica Kirk, they've been tracking her between 2022 and September of 2025. Both of them were aircrafts. Okay, showing 68 overlaps with Erica documented location. Okay, 68. But then when Candace Owens did the math, in total 73 times overlap. So 29 include Charlie Kirk. They were tracking him. And also they were tracking Erica Kirk as well. those flights. And like Candace Owens was saying, I wrote it down: Kansas, Missouri, Nebraska, Delaware, Utah, and also overseas as well. That's some scary shit, okay? And it seems like the Turning Point USA, they are aware of this, I believe. And why they have not said anything? That's crazy to me. That these planes been tracking Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk. And the Turning Point USA knew about this, and they have not said anything. They've been keeping hush-hush. And when, like Candace Owens was saying, when she mentioned it, they thought she was crazy, delusional, out of her mind, not making sense, all these headlines about her. When Turning Point USA knew all of this. So, yeah, we demand answers. Like, what is going on here? What is going on? Because to me, that seemed like a little stalkerish, okay? You're stalking Charlie Kirk and his wife, too. Because you got to keep in mind, you guys, Erica Kirk also traveled with her husband, Charlie Kirk, as well, as much as she can, even though she had 2 young babies. But she did mention in the past they do travel together as a family when they do like events and stuff like that. So it's not surprising that when Candace Owens mentioning this, that should not be a shock or not further investigate. I don't understand why the feds are not investigating this. I don't understand how Candace Owens and the Mama Slews and everyone is investigating this, trying to put all the pieces together, and they're not even detectives. They don't even work for the government. And it's when they're putting more work and effort to get to the bottom of the truth, but the feds are not doing anything. What the hell they're doing? What the hell are they doing? They're not doing anything. They're wasting time. And I just feel like, what the hell the feds are doing? They're not doing anything. They're doing the bare minimum, you guys, the bare minimum. And we all know this. And then we should just trust them, trust what they're saying. They got it right. They got our guy, when we all know that they don't got the guy. They don't even have the shooter at all. So it's just crazy to me. But let Candace Owens continue.
This plane crossed with Erica. And I'm also going to say this includes overseas as well. Okay? So my instant question becomes, why didn't Turning Point acknowledge that this plane was familiar to them?
Right.
When I was taking all of these figurative online bullets, someone could have easily said something, right? That's kind of a repeat thing in this investigation. Josh Hammer lies, I get attacked, Turning Point just stays silent. They know he's lying, they allow the lie to flow. Alex Clark lies, I get attacked, I'm telling the truth. Turning Point knows it, but they kind of allow this like Catholic thing, lie to flow. And the influencers are allowed to lie. Nobody at Turning Point ever just steps to clarify that I'm onto something or I'm telling the truth about something.
You're onto something.
And when it comes to these Egyptian flights, the math on this is indisputable. There is less than a 0.00000001% probability, okay, under random distribution models that these Egyptian planes coincidentally landed around Erica at these times. Like I said, this plane was not just with her in America, it was also tracking her overseas as well. I flagged this because I was alarmed because I thought it was tracking Charlie, and I am telling you that this plane, in addition to Charlie, and primarily actually was tracking Erica. Now, let's get to the day of the assassination.
Okay.
On the day of Charlie's assassination, we know the yellow plane took off in the morning, but the blue plane did not take off in the morning. The blue plane, SUBND, did, however, power on. And I want to be very clear as to what I mean when I say that this plane was on. I am saying that it was transponding, okay? It's transponding at the FBO at Duncan Aviation, private terminal. So at the very least, they powered up the electronics. At most, they fully powered it on and the engine was running. What we know for certain is that it did not move from the FBO. Did not move. It was just on and transponding. And I want you to recognize, I'm going to make it clear for you, what are the times.
So what can we make of this? What can we make of this? Second plane didn't move. Transponders was on. And nothing was happening with that plane. And on top of that, tracking Erica Kirk overseas and in the United States too, along with Charlie Kirk. What can we make of this? This is just crazy and insane. And that's the thing. We can't ask any questions. I took notes and it doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? And my thing is, why the feds are not giving us this? You know what I mean? It's not going to damage the investigation or the trial or anything. Like, why they're not giving us this? You know what I mean? Like, it had to take Candace Owens to figure this out and for her to tell everyone what's going on, and other people as well. You know what I mean? It had to take a bunch of people to put two and two together. You know what I mean? 1 + 1 is 2. And I just don't understand what's going on here. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. It does not make any sense. And like Candace Owens saying, that plane left from Scottsdale, Arizona, landed into Provo at 10:06. Okay? With that tail number that she mentioned, departed started N560TW. Now, it's just going to get more crazier as we go along with this, and I just want to point out this next video that I want to tell you. And I just don't understand. This is my perspective of this. Okay, Charlie Kirk was a huge figure. Okay, he traveled all over the world, campus to campuses. Okay, doing different events, speeches, and stuff like that. He was a huge figure to everyone all over the world. When that day happened on 9/10, it shook everyone. Okay, we were all devastated and shocked that someone can be assassinated live in front of the whole entire world. Okay, and I just don't understand how this investigation just went south. You know what I mean? How they're not doing their investigation judiciously. You know, trying to investigate everyone. To just say, okay, you know, we got the guy. It was a trans thing, you know, with the text messages exchanged to his lover, which that text message did not make any sense to anyone, including me. And how Tyler Robinson confessed when he really didn't confess. Until this day, he has not spoken to anyone about this. His lover cannot be found. He's under witness protection, or someone made him disappear for him not to talk. Okay, to probably have changed identity. Then you have the rifle, makes no sense. You have the pictures, the images, which is very grainy, that we can't see the clear footage of Tyler Robinson, even though there was cameras everywhere in that campus, everywhere. But again, the feds want us to see, or want us to believe, that is Tyler Robinson, when I believe there's multiple people were involved in this. But back to this now, okay? I just don't understand why they don't follow the money. You know what I mean? Why they don't follow the money in Turning Point USA? Why they're not investigating the people in Turning Point USA like Candace Owens is saying? Because Candace Owens is saying the people that Charlie Kirk trusted betrayed him. I don't know why that's so far stretched. I don't understand that. I don't understand that, oh, you know, everyone loved Charlie, everyone cared about him, respected him. You think someone in that organization have not done anything shady behind Charlie Kirk's back without his knowledge? Like, think about it. I just don't understand how the feds are not putting their thinking caps together. I'm not even FBI. I'm not working into intelligence. I'm not in the CIA, FBI, NSA, MI6. I have common sense. I have street smart, and I have common sense. You know what I mean? And to watch a lot of, you know, podcasts and criminal shows, even though that's a show and this is real life, but still, it still implements the same thing that's going on in the investigation of Charlie Kirk. And it's common sense. I don't know why they don't follow the money, investigating that. Because even Candace Owens said it, that the day that Charlie Kirk died, the 7 days, okay, before he died, he was investigating the money. He hired, let me just make sure I get this right, because I just want to, he hired a new CCO to audit Turning Point USA, because it clearly, the money was not looking right in Charlie Kirk's eyes, because the money was going and coming. The money was going and coming. He didn't know where the money was going or where the money was coming from. Okay, so that's why he created Doge. Okay, something did not seem right, Turning Point USA. And it seemed like Charlie Kirk was going to investigate 7 days before he died. Okay? So I don't understand why the feds are not following the money, one. Two, why the feds are not investigating the people that worked in the finance, looking at the books at Turning Point. I don't get it. Like everyone is squeaky clean. Not everyone, okay, majority. I'm just saying, when it comes to money, people act differently. People turn on other people. So what I'm saying is, okay, Charlie Kirk suspected something, and that's why he was investigating 7 days before he died, because there was money coming in and money coming out that was not accounted for. Okay, you understand what I'm saying, you guys? Not accounted for. And he was investigating. So someone in that organization was doing something very shady behind Charlie Kirk's back, that he trusted his lieutenants, and his lieutenants was doing something bad behind his back. Okay? I just don't understand why they're not investigating this. Oh, we can't do this. We can't ask these questions. We can't investigate the people who are turning, because they're such good Christian people. Christian people are bad too. Okay? Not all Christian people are good. I'm sorry to disappoint everyone in the world. There's some bad apples, okay? Whether you're Christian, Catholic, Muslim, whatever. There's all bad apples out there, okay? And people should not disregard that. And that's what the feds are doing. It's like, follow the money. If you follow the money, you will get some clarity, you will get some answers. And that is to understand why the feds are not doing that. They're just ruling it out. We got our guy. That is it. End of story. That's it. No, it's not end of story, because none of it's making sense. None of it's mapping. All they're doing is drip, 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 drip about little garbage. That is so irrelevant and doesn't make any sense. They think we're stupid. They think we're dumb, but we're not. This is not 1963. This is not what happened to JFK. Okay? I wasn't even born yet. Majority of us was not even born yet. This is 2025. Okay? This is the new generation. You cannot just sweep this underneath the rug like you did in 1963. Okay? It's not happening, because we're not quitting. We're not stopping. We're going to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk. Okay? We're going to find out. And in my opinion, I think we're going to find out sooner than we think. Okay? If it's not going to happen at the end of the year, you best believe next year. Okay? 2026. Let's go. Okay? You understand? Let's go. And on top of that, the Egyptian plane, get serious. Everyone knows, okay, that it's not the Egyptian plane. We all know this, okay? It's not the Egyptian plane. I know it, you know it, the whole world knows it. It's not the Egyptian plane, okay? It's not. It's not. It's pretty obvious. But they want us to think it's the Egyptian plane. So we're going to play along with their stupid games and be senile and denial that it's Egyptian planes. But we all know it's not the Egyptian planes. I'm sorry to disappoint you, the feds, and everyone else that believes that it's the Egyptian planes. It's not. We all know what type of planes they are. Military governments, but not the Egyptian planes. Okay? We're not going to know. We're not going to know. We know. We don't know, but we know, like Candace Owens said. Anyhow, I'm going to show you this clipping of this video next. And it's a gentleman from, I just want to make sure I get this right, Wolves and Finances on YouTube. And when I listened to this guy, when he was talking about the finances of Turning Point USA, that makes so much effing sense. And again, I don't understand why the feds are not following the money, why they're not investigating this. Because what this man is saying makes absolutely sense. And I'm sorry to say, everyone's a suspect at Turning Point USA, including me. And I don't even live in Arizona. Everyone's a suspect. Everyone should be ruled out. But no one's investigating the people that worked at Turning Point USA. I don't understand that. No one's not investigating them. Like they haven't done anything. Follow the money. If you follow the money, then you will follow the rat who betrayed Charlie Kirk. Now, they may not be involved in his assassination, but they had every part of something when it comes to the money, because some of the money that's missing, 8.6 million, it's not accounted for. It's missing, okay? Which this man is going to explain to you more better than I can. So I'm going to let you listen to his own words, and he's going to explain to you the finances of Turning Point USA. So take a listen. Oops, sorry, guys.
Let's go look at the 990 forms that Turning Point USA submits to the IRS every year. These contain their annual financial statements. When you look at the forms, there are some very strange anomalies. Several of the 990 forms are missing. Turning Point USA lists 4 related entities. There's Turning Point USA, Turning Point Endowment, Turning Point Action, and America's Turning Point. All different organizations do slightly different things. The Form 990 for fiscal year 2024 is posted for Turning Point USA, but it is missing for all the other 3 organizations. It looks like it was never turned in. This is a massive red flag.
Pause. Fraudulent. That's what I'm going to say. Fraudulent and red flag. Red flag. And again, why the feds are not investigating this? That's just crazy to me. Okay? I'm going to continue and I'm not going to stop until he finishes. And I can say my point.
So Tyler Boyer is being snarky on X.com and telling people to go look at the annual financial audit, but the financial audit is missing from last year for 3 of the 4 organizations. This strange decision to hide their financial statements happened 4 months before Charlie Kirk was murdered. I will repeat for clarity. Someone at Turning Point decided not to file 3 of the 4 of their annual financial statements 4 months before Charlie Kirk appointed a new COO, requested a new audit, and was murdered.
My apologies, CEO. I said CCO. I just want to correct myself. CEO. My apologies.
Those 3 financial statements are still missing.
So to be clear, that was another point that they gaslit me on when I told you that it was unusual that 7 days before Charlie died, he said that he wanted to establish Doge, right? Tyler came out and lied, and he said, this is just totally regular. And Alex Clark said, oh, every year since I've been here, this is what we do. And the guy starts this video by being like, you have to be an idiot to accept that as an answer. Of course, doing an audit has nothing to do with internally establishing a Doge, right? He recognized that something's wrong at the organization. And as I told you, okay, so do not miss on these things. He was not just concerned about where the money was going. He was concerned about where it was coming from. And what I can tell you about Charlie is that if Charlie got clued into something, if Charlie was at first trusting his lieutenant, and then he suddenly said, wait a second, what's going on over here? And he decided that he wanted to figure something out. He would have figured that ish out by sundown.
I believe it.
That is how brilliant he was. If it had his attention, he would have figured it out by sundown. What did Charlie discover is my question, okay? Now, to correct something that he says there, he says 4 months before, that's the regular tax deadline. It is actually normal. It is for big companies to file for a tax extension, but they missed that deadline as well. I think that was October 15th was the tax extension deadline. They have missed them both, and that is completely abnormal. And he is correct. If you go back and you look at Turning Point USA's filings before, they always file all of them at the same time. So this is unusual that they've left off 3 of them. And I'm going to let him get into a deeper clip here where he discusses the quote-unquote missing $8.6 million. Take a listen.
Let us look at the one financial statement we do have for fiscal year 2024 for Turning Point USA. Schedule I shows grants and other assistance to organizations, governments, and individuals in the United States. This schedule shows you where Turning Point is sending its money. We see that a lot of money, $8,560,625, is being sent to America's Turning Point. They are sending it to their own shell company. Now, this is not necessarily illegal, except for the fact that the financial statement for the other organization is missing. We cannot see how this $8.6 million is being spent. This is very important because there are strange variances around this money. I have pulled the last 5 years of 990 forms for Turning Point USA. Here is a table with contributions compared with the largest expense, which are the grants from Schedule I. You can immediately see a strange dip between 2022 and 2023. This dip happens because in prior years, they were sending money to Turning Point Endowment. They were transferring millions of dollars. This stopped in 2021, and they started ramping up sending money to America's Turning Point. Let's break this down. First of all, I find it really unethical that they were sending millions of dollars to their own endowment. I know that a lot of nonprofits do this, but I think it is unethical. Do the donors know this is how Turning Point is spending their money? Turning Point USA is taking in donations and then sending the money to their endowment to invest in the stock market. In my opinion, they should be spending donations on operating their nonprofit, not on buying investments. As of fiscal year 2023, they had $61 million of assets in the endowment, which was generating $1.9 million a year of investment income. Personally, I think that's an unethical way to run a nonprofit, but that's just my opinion. But what is important here is what happened to the missing $8.6 million, the amount sent to America's Turning Point in fiscal year 2024. The amount of money sent to America's Turning Point was getting larger and larger, and because the financial statements are missing, we cannot tell how this money was spent. If we look at the prior year, the majority of the money was spent on other salaries and wages. How is this possible when America's Turning Point reports 0 employees? Does anyone else think that sounds a little suspicious?
Yes. Pause. Suspicious, red flag, and fraudulent. So, what I can suspect is people were paying themselves and thinking that, again, like he said, there's no employees, 0. So what I think with the $8.6 million that's unaccounted for, people were paying themselves. They were stealing money, okay? I'm going to say it. They're stealing money, okay? Because, again, why not file those taxes? Why those 3 are missing? Why they're not including that? Because they're doing something shady. The people in the finance department in Turning Point USA are stealing money from that organization. It's disgusting. And if I was Erica, okay, CEO, I would get to the bottom of this and fire every last one of the person that was involved in this, okay? Because someone is not telling the truth, okay? Someone is lying. Someone is stealing money that people are donating to that organization, okay? And they call themselves Christian. Shame on you, whoever you are. Shame on you. You're going to reap what you sow, okay?
In my opinion, what I think is happening is I think there are fake people on the payroll. I think that paychecks are getting sent to people who do not really exist. And that would explain why we have a company with 0 employees with millions of dollars of salary expense.
Tell us why it's not moral. Do they think we are this soft and persuadable? Like, do we look like the kinds of people that are just going to watch an assassination in broad daylight and just let it go?
Hell no.
Because some influencers insist that we do? No. Sorry. It's not 1963.
No.
You're not going to get away with it this time. Anyways, he then goes on to describe how they conducted their own audits using a firm called Baker Tilly. I'll let him take it away.
What about Tyler Boyer's argument that they have an annual financial audit every year? If what I'm saying is true, why wouldn't their annual audit catch these issues?
Pause. I know why. Listen. They probably faked documents. Hello? They probably faked the documents, gave it to that company, okay? Allegedly. I'm going to say allegedly. This is just my opinion because I don't want people to come after me and sue me because I have nothing to sue, okay? And no one's not going to sue me for defamation, okay? And no one's not going to sue me because I have a brain and I am thinking, okay? Is it possible, allegedly, that they could falsify documents, make it look like everything looks good on paper, when actually it really don't, and then they sign off of it? People do it all the time. Sketchy people do it all the time. So what is that so hard to believe that they might be doing that? Allegedly, I'm going to say. Allegedly. But that's just a gut feeling that I'm going with, okay? Because people scam. There's a lot of scammers. There are a lot of people that can falsify documentation, make it look good on paper, but really, in all reality, doesn't look good, okay? And the money's missing. Now, I'm not saying the company was aware of this because they could have been blindsided as well, and they're probably were deceitful. They're deceiving them, But that's a possibility too. And again, why no one's not investigating this, except for the exception of this gentleman talking about it on his YouTube channel?
The annual financial audit for Turning Point USA, Inc. and its affiliates was performed by an accounting firm called Baker Tilly. In the notes, they explain that they audited Turning Point USA, Turning Point Action, Turning Point Endowment, America's Turning Point, and TP USA Merch. That usually means they audited all the shell companies when they provided their opinion that the statements present fairly in all material respects. That means it is a clean audit with no problems. I wonder if Baker Tilly will provide an explanation why they can issue a flawless audit report when 3 990 forms were never filed with the IRS. And just to clarify, Baker Tilly's audit opinion letter is signed after Turning Point missed the filing date with the IRS. So there is no excuse for Baker Tilly not to mention this in their audit opinion. Erica Kirk assumed the role of CEO of Turning Point USA on September 18th, 2025, 8 days after Charlie Kirk was murdered. She has been the CEO for almost 2 months. She needs to answer these questions. If someone has lied on the 990 form, people go to jail for that. I want some explanation of why Turning Point USA sent $8.6 million to their shell company and then did not file financial statements. And Erica, I don't know who does the accounting at Turning Point.
Fire them all.
But if they have not been telling you about any of this, you need to fire your accountants immediately.
I think all valid points, and again, just to modify, it is possible that when they used that outside auditor, that they showed them all the documentation, and then they gave them a clean bill of health, and then for whatever reason, Turning Point decided not to file. It's possible. Okay.
Pause. Like Candace Owens said, it's possible. However, another possibility is they could have falsified these documents to make it look good. And again, the other company may not be aware of it. Okay? I'm going to say allegedly, it's possible. But again, it just smells fishy to me. Okay? Nothing of this tax audit thing doesn't seem right to me at all. Okay? And anyone that has the right common sense, the right mind will realize that, will sense that something is not adding up here. I see a lot of drip, 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 drip in all this, okay? It doesn't make sense.
Okay, like I said, probably low probability, but it is plausible that they did that, but it is just a fact that they missed the filing extension deadline. So what's going on here? Where did the $8.5 million go? Yeah. And what's also compelling about this video, which we didn't show, is that he clarifies that Turning Point USA actually decreased their staff, the 501c3 arm, 33%, by 30%. So there was a 33% staff reduction, and yet the cost of salaries somehow went up. And to him, that looks suspicious. And I agree, that looks suspicious, right?
Very suspicious.
And this, of course, is the kind of pressure that needs to be put on them. Yes, I said it was a very bad idea right off the bat for Erica, who's grieving her husband, to then instantly become a chairman and a CEO, because these are valid questions now that people are asking. And a chairman and a CEO is going to have to respond to those questions. You have to answer these questions when people are asking about money, especially given the fact that so many people, I mean, they cleared over $70 million in the first couple of weeks after Charlie was assassinated. Okay, that's a lot of well-meaning people that are giving money to this organization, who are now learning how this organization functions by routing the bulk of their money, or to a lot of their money rather, not the bulk of it, into their endowment fund, right? That is not okay. We deserve answers to the questions that we are asking, and we're going to keep asking them.
Yeah, we're going to keep asking them. And I agree. Where is the money? Where is the $70 million? And again, the 6.8. Where, again, these are questions that we need answered from the Turning Point USA, the CEO, and I agree with Candace Owens. You know what I mean? She was appointed to the CEO, and Erica Kirk needs to give these type of answers. She needs to find out from the accountant, like, what the hell is going on. And if these accountants are lying and not doing what they're supposed to do, she needs to fire them. She needs to get to the bottom and fire them, and then they need to be arrested, because they seem like there's a lot of fraudulent thing that's going on there. Okay, allegedly. That's what I believe. And again, that man, he just explained it so perfectly, and I just believe that something's going on. Okay, money's taken out, money's not accounted for, and the people who's been donating money to this organization deserve some answers, because these are the hard-earned money that they're donating to the organization, and somebody in that organization is stealing. Taking all that money out, okay? And the people deserve some answers. So the accountant, you better get your facts straight. And when Erica Kirk does her investigation or question everyone, you better get all your answers correct. Because if it doesn't seem right or anything looks suspicious of the way you say things, you may be up in jail or fired. Okay, I'm telling you, there's a lot of scandalous things that's going on in that organization that doesn't seem right. Has betrayed Charlie Kirk, and money's been stealing. Money's been missing. Money's been coming in and out. A lot of shady things been going on in that organization. Okay, and the truth needs to come out. There needs to be accountability. People need to be fired. Okay, and Erica Kirk needs to get to the bottom of this and start investigating and letting some people go, because those people, majority of the people in that organization, they're not doing the right thing. They're not doing God's righteous thing. Okay, they're stealing, and that's wrong to do. Especially this man, Charlie Kirk, started this organization from the ground up. Okay, he put his blood, sweat, tears, sacrifice, everything to that organization. And then some of you people can do that to him. You can just steal from him and lie, and you call Charlie Kirk your friend. It's disgusting to me. And shame on you, especially you Christians. That's what I'm saying. Some Christian people are just shady. They think they're doing the righteous thing, God thing. No, you don't steal. It says it in the Bible. It says it in the commandments. Thou shalt not murder, steal, adultery, among other things. And some of the people in that organization are doing exactly what they're not supposed to do. And it's going to come out. It is. It's just crazy. Now, Candace Owens talked about the suspicious rental cars, okay? And I don't understand, again, why the FBI has not even looked into this. Maybe they did. Maybe they did look into those 4 rental cars that Candace Owens mentioned on her show, and they just failed to tell the public, we have 4 suspicious rental cars that were rented in Utah, the license plate number, none of that. They failed to share that with us. I wonder why. Again, we're not hearing anything from the vets, so Candace Owens is releasing this information. And I have to say, and which I will pull up the 4 vehicles with their license plate, it's just crazy. It is crazy. And I just hope somebody who gives a damn about Charlie Kirk and the assassination, they will look into these 4 vehicles, okay? And I'm going to let Candace Owens talk to you about the suspicious rental cars, and then I'm going to pull up every vehicle that she mentioned with the license plates numbers. So take a listen to what Candace Owens had to say.
Yeah, there's more. I know something else about the Egyptian flights. This time, another mommy sleuth. I learned that oddly, Duncan Aviation, where that plane was transponding from, the FBO in Provo sourced rental cars for these quote-unquote Egyptians when they landed a couple of days before this operation. And I didn't just learn that, I actually have the license plates number for 4 of the vehicles that they rented. Okay?
Let's go, Candace.
Honestly, you guys, it brings me great pleasure to deliver this information because now, surely, Tulsi's office can get involved.
Yes,
because,
Tulsi.
Those darn Egyptians are at it again. Those darn Egyptians.
Yeah.
Here are the 4 license plates of the cars that were rented. The first car rented was a silver 2025 Toyota RAV4. The Utah license plate number is T092ZS. Second car was a white 2025 Toyota Camry. Arizona license plate, CWN-N872. Don't worry, I'm going to show you guys this in a spreadsheet. The third car was a white 2023 Toyota RAV4. Utah license plate number TN12KM. The fourth was a black 2025 Toyota 4Runner. Utah license plate number Z923DA. To the students at UVU, do we have this somewhere? Did you pull it up, or just did you show them it on the screen? I didn't see what you showed them. Okay, cool. License plates were shown. Now, to the students at UVU, please check your phones, your pictures from that day. Because if any of those cars were seen at UVU or around campus on that day, then we're going to be able to suspect. Yeah, there's more. I know something else about the Egyptian flights. This time,
Now you know.
Another mommy sleuth.
Oh, sorry, guys. And there you have it. Those 4 vehicles. And thank you so much, Mommy Slews, for giving that information to Candace Owens and what to make of it. What to make of these 4 rental cars with the license plate number and everything. And again, the question that I'm asking you guys is, why have not the feds released these vehicles to ask the public for help, for information? If you know anything, if you've seen these vehicles in the UVU campuses, please call the 1-800 hotline or whatever. None of that. None of that. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. Again, nothing in this whole investigation is adding up. Nothing has made sense from the beginning, from what the feds are telling us at all. So, what do they think that they want us to believe? Because they're not telling us anything. Okay, so that's why a lot of people are going through a whole conspiracy theories, and they're in a rabbit hole and stuff like that. But I have to say, and I told my husband this last night, I'm sticking to Candace Owens all the way through. Okay, she's the only one that's making sense. She's the only one that is presenting facts and evidence. And I know a lot of people are going to say, Cheryl, well, she's not. She just, implying certain things, an innuendo about certain things. She's not telling us anything. She's telling us more than what the feds are telling us, okay? And actually, not for nothing, the things that she's saying makes a whole lot of sense. And you can do your own investigation yourself. And I've been doing it too. And I've been putting two and two together and corresponding what Candace Owens is saying. And I have to say, it makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. And I just don't understand why, again, the feds are not on this. Again, why the feds are not want to know who really killed Charlie Kirk. I don't understand this at all. I don't understand why President Trump is not calling Candace Owens on the DL. Hey, I love Charlie. I know Charlie loved me. He went all out just to get me in to the presidency, to the White House and everything. Let's get this done. Let's find out. Let's get to the bottom of who killed Charlie Kirk. Nothing, crickets, nothing. I'm like, okay, we're going to give him a sign, a boulevard sign, and this and that, and off our way. The feds got it. When clearly the feds do not got it. They do not have it. They cover everything up. And I know this is real life, and I'm not trying to compare to the movies or anything. But with that being said, it's kind of similar, with this show that I watch on Netflix. Is called The Agent, and it's all about government stuff, like hiding secrets, killing informants, keeping things from the president and the VP and all that stuff. And I just don't understand how people don't understand that. Again, I don't work in the White House. I don't work in the government. That how someone from the inside of the White House knows something. You know what I mean? They know what's happening, and they keeping it a secret. They keeping it hush hush. I don't know why that's come to surprise to some people. You know what I mean? There are shady people in politics. There's shady people in the White House. There's shady people that President Trump is around. Okay, no one is perfect, obviously, but no one's not squeaky clean as well. So I don't know why that's come so hard to people to believe that there's people from the inside is aware of what's going on and knows more information what happened to Charlie Kirk, and they're not saying anything. Kash Patel, crickets, Blondie, she's just a piece of what. You know what I mean? She just failed. That's the Epstein files, but you know what I mean. She's just a total loser, in my opinion. Okay, who's the other guy? Dan Bonjoni. All these people, giving us transparency, saying that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Nothing. Okay, nothing. Just like with the Epstein file, nothing. Okay, crickets. Okay, same thing with Charlie Kirk. Well, no one's not standing down. Okay, we're going to continue to follow this, continue to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk, because we will not rest. We will not rest. And just like Candace Owens said, and I said, this is not 1963 anymore, okay? We are living in the new time, 2025. And you cannot just publicly assassinate a good man, a husband, a father, a God-fearing man, okay, and love this country, and you can just assassinate this man in front of the world and then just tell the public, let it go. No, we're not letting it go because you made a mistake doing that in front of the world, okay, in front of the whole world to see the assassination of Charlie Kirk, him getting a bullet in his throat, okay? We're not dealing with that, okay? This is a new time. You made the biggest mistake by doing that, by executing him real time, live, in front of the world. You could have just easily did it on the DL and make it look like an accident, but you didn't want to do that. You were trying to set a statement, okay? Whoever planned this, you were trying to set a statement, and you did, because now none of us will not rest until we get answers, until we get truth of what happened to Charlie Kirk, because his family deserved that. The people that loved him, that surrounded by him, deserved that. His wife, his children, his parents, his siblings, and that people deserve that. And he deserved that too. And right now, the government is not doing that. They're not doing that. They have failed him. And right now, we only can rely on, obviously, God, because God will get us through this, and God will seek us the truth, and other people that's investigating the death of Charlie Kirk as well. And I just want to thank each and every one of you for doing that, spending your time, your energy away from your family, your friends, everything, just to focus on the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I just thank all of you, and I will be praying for each and every one of you for the strength and the courage to keep going. I'm going to keep going because I'm not stopping. And I know a lot of people are not stopping too. So that's all I have to say about that. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining my channel. That's it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and I will see you guys on Monday.